We're back on Hitting the Field. I'm Rachel White. Troy Kless and Eric Scott join me here at the desk. Arsenal had the chance to go to the top of the Premier League table once again, but couldn't convert against London rivals Chelsea. Guys, what were your takeaways from the game?
Yeah, Arsenal really wasted an opportunity to go top of the table again with Leicester. When you look at Arsenal, the team, they need to take advantage of these opportunities because they're going to get ready to get into Champions League play. This was the opportunity for Arsenal to say, I have a firm grip, we have a firm grip on the title race. Manchester United, Man City did not take advantage of a West Ham United team this weekend. In the game against Chelsea, I was just looking for Arsenal to spread the ball around, get a little bit consistency in the final third, and attack that Chelsea defense that has been weak at times this year.
It's hard to do that sometimes when you're literally going up against the bus, as you usually are in a Chelsea team. It was a typical, Chelsea sort of game. They were able to, once they got the goal up, and being a man up is also helps a lot. I mean, Mertesacker, that was a really dumb decision. You saw in the replay, he wasn't even looking when he lunged in on Costa there, and that literally just killed the game off. And when Costa scored, Chelsea were able to play more conservatively, and it was pretty easy for Chelsea. Just sitting back, absorbing pressure, and Alexis Sanchez came on late in the game, tried to make the difference, but wasn't able to do so. There was just no cohesion going forward.
Yeah, the problem was having to take off that central striker and Giroud. Once Mertesacker made that decision to take out Diego Costa, and we all know Diego Costa was going to act the best way possible to get that red card sent off, there was no one for them to play with. Arsenal has such success when they're able to play with the top man up, as they're able to bring the ball back and allow the wingers to get out wide. And Arsenal, they seemed frustrated. They had a couple of chances. The center mids were able to push into the final third. It was never enough. They never got that clear goal scoring opportunity. And so Chelsea were able to take 3 points and then move up closer to the middle of the table.
Leicester City is currently at the top of the table, but Arsenal, Manchester City, and Tottenham are right behind them. Who do you guys see winning the title at the end of the season?
I think I'm going to have to give the nod to Manchester City just because I see them. They're not going to be dropping points against teams in the bottom half of the table like Arsenal did over the weekend. And Man City, they have a pretty strong squad as long as they stay healthy, especially Sergio Aguero up top, who is always, he's a constant threat against any defense in the Premier League. And I think also, back to their goalkeeper, Joe Hart, he's just a monster sometimes. You saw that save they had against Payet's free kick. Not many other keepers could make that save. Maybe De Gea, but, other than that, I think Man City still has the strongest title credentials at this point.
Yeah, here's the interesting talk. Can Tottenham make a run in a year when the Premier League is so up for grabs, 5 points off the top of the table against Leicester City right now? The one thing that I'm going to look at is going to Champions League play. Can Manchester City and Arsenal keep up the consistent play and put the same focus in the Premier League that they will in the Champions League? Because you look at Arsenal, they have to play Leicester City, Manchester City, Barcelona, all in a 2-week span. I mean, which game are you going to put your focus on? So Arsenal's going to have to focus on the Champions League, so will Man City. Leicester can look at that and say, hey, I have an opportunity, and so can Tottenham. Only allowing 19 goals, the fewest in the Premier League. Lloris has been great in goal, and they've been able to get into the attack.
Yeah, I mean, you said Tottenham's doing good. I mean, I still don't see them breaking out of that fourth place spot. I mean, normally that's reserved for Arsenal. That's where they finish, usually in the last couple of years. That's where they ended up. But Tottenham, they've shown that they can, compete with the big boys as well. But, Leicester, the surprise team of the year, the Cinderella story, it just keeps going on. And I think, Jamie Vardy, he started to he cooled down a little bit during the December period, but they, like you said, they have some big games coming up. And since they're only focusing on the Premier League right now, as opposed to Arsenal, who has to worry about Barcelona, Champions League.
Let me ask you a question. Does Leicester City, is this a surprise anymore? Are we surprised about the way they play? I mean, they have allowed goals at times, but they just come back and score and score and score. So, I mean, are we really surprised at this point? Can Leicester really win this?
I think so. I mean, you always think that, a smaller team like this, they'll drop off at some point, but they haven't really showed any signs of that. They just keep rolling on. I mean, especially the combination, the link up between Mahrez and Vardy, and you have Rocks in the midfield and at center back and Danny Simpson. I mean, those players, they'll push Leicester up to the title.
Well, Manchester United and Liverpool both seem to have fallen out of the title race. But can either of them finish in the top 4 and make the Champions League?
Yeah, you look at Man United, 28 goals on the year, 17 less than Manchester City. They just want to get into that top 4 spot. I have been so surprised that they have not figured it out. The talent around them, especially in the midfield, there's talent everywhere. You can do different combinations if it's Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, if you want to get Carrick in there with Ander Herrera. There's been so much confusion onto how they should play, how they should develop the
But
attack.
is that the manager's fault, though? You think it's all
but
rides on
you have to
LVG?
adjust. You get paid these big pounds to play at the highest level. As players, you have to adjust. Listen, I put a lot of the blame on the system, okay, because the players are always going to listen to the manager. But when you only have 28 goals in the season, they haven't scored a goal in the first half in 11 straight games. Manchester United have to figure it out, but I do think they get in that top 4 spot.
I don't know. I think Liverpool, they have a much better chance, because they have a little bit more cohesion under Jurgen Klopp. Even though he likes to sometimes change things up a little bit, it's, at least it's more exciting than Man United, right? But, yeah, I mean, if they have a healthy Daniel Sturridge and Benteke, if he starts, getting, back into form, they have a good shot at making the top 4.
Well, coming up after the break, Troy and Eric will discuss what is going on with the U.S. men's national soccer team.